allegiance. As soon as I get the lamp turned down here so they're not blocking my view, and I can see everyone. When you're as short as I am, you have to take advantage of all the opportunities you have. Ladies and gentlemen, and Lord, we're starting a whole new term here in City Council. We have some new faces, we have some returning faces, and we have some members that are in distress. And we're asking for your blessings on them. We're asking for your blessings on those who've just recently been re-elected and those who've been newly elected, although they had been here in the past. We're asking for your blessing on our administration, our mayor and our safety service director and our auditor and our permanent, temporary law director who may become the permanent one. We ask all these blessings, Lord, in your name. We ask you to bless our troops and all the people that are in danger and help keep us safe and help keep this democracy strong so that we can do what we do here in these meetings and we can govern ourselves. May the Lord bless you and keep you and make his face shine upon you and give you peace. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let me see, the first order of business is to appoint a temporary clerk. Mr. Knowles, you've done the service and the honor in the past. Would you please, you can say right where we are.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, we have a temporary clerk at this point in time. I have only received one letter of interest in being the council clerk, and it's from Mr. Yost. I've read that letter to you previously. He's more than willing and feels honored to be able to service and to continue that service. And therefore, unless there's somebody who wants to make a nomination of someone different, I'll entertain a motion by acclamation for Mr. Yost. Mr. Doherty.
I move that we accept the nomination of Mr. Yost as clerk.
Second.
Been moved and seconded.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, we got a third, we got another second, okay?
Thank you.
That Mr. Yost be retained as the clerk of the Land City Council. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion is carried by acclamation. Mr. Yost, congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
Back to the fray. Okay, will you please take over at this point in time?
Yes.
Okay. We need to,
Roll call.
we have a,
Good job, Kevin.
yes, we need to call a roll.
Cherry.
Here.
Doherty.
Here.
Giacomides.
Here.
Klein.
Here.
Phillips. Rome. Here. Ryan.
Here.
I'd entertain a motion to excuse Member Phillips. She's ill. And,
So moved.
Mr. Doherty moves.
Second.
Mr. Klein seconds. All those in discussion, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion is carried. Okay. That takes care of the roll call. We got the appointment of the temporary clerk, the appointment of the clerk, election of President Pro Tem.
Mr. President,
Ms. Giacomides.
I move that Mr. Doherty be elected the President Pro Tem.
Second.
Ms. Klein. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll move that the nominations be closed and we cast a unanimous ballot for Mr. Doherty to become President Pro Tem. All those in favor of the unanimous ballot signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion is carried. Mr. Doherty, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got that out of it. Now, council rules. The mayor indicated to me that he's updated the council rules with the proper names on them, and it noted that the one change was that I believe the codified ordinances of the
Robert's rules.
pardon me?
Robert's rules.
Robert's Rules of Orders have been updated to, I think, 2011.
Yes.
Other than that, there's no change to the rules. So I'll entertain a motion regarding council rules.
Mr. President,
Mr. Doherty.
I move that we adopt the current Alliance City Council rules.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Doherty, second by Ms. Ryan, we adopt the current council rules. Discussion? Hearing Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting council rules signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion carried. We've taken care of that item. Okay. All right, we have appointments for the 2014 term to standing committees. Okay. I would note that you had 3 proposals before you. I sent out the proposals I sent out 4 proposals to you all together, but I boiled it down to 2 that I put on one sheet of paper, and they're included in items number, alternative 1 and 2, and then was distributed this evening was alternative 3, which is a proposal from Ms. Giacometti. I need a motion by somebody to accept 1, 2, or 3. Mr. Klein.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we adopt Julie's copy of number 3.
Second.
Who's the second?
Mr. Cherry.
Mr. Chair.
Is there any others? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion carried.
Can I get a copy of that to incorporate into? the
Yeah, ask her
minutes?
for one.
I made 10 and they're all gone.
Okay. It's just much easier to get it into the minutes.
The only change
Here,
from
you
the
can
last
take
one was
mine.
Sue and I.
Okay.
She switched Ryan and herself.
Okay. Okay, got it, thank you.
I'll mark mine. Got it?
Yes.
There-
No, I've got it, okay.
All right, okay. The chairs will stand appointed as I have indicated in alternative number 2, which you have in your possession. Okay? Did I give you, did I distribute to you? All of you? Yes? Okay. The chairs will be as they're indicated in alternative number 2. And perhaps the same on Ms. Giacometti's, but I haven't had time to survey that. Okay. All right, we've got that done. Now I think we're ready for minutes. Minutes of December 16.
We have 2, we have both the workshop and the regular.
Wait 1 second. Okay, 12/16, regular. Ms. Ryan,
Mr. President, move that we accept minutes of the December 16th regular meeting.
Second.
move by Ms. Ryan, second by Mr. Doherty, to accept the minutes of the regular meeting of December 16. Discussion, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no, the motion is carried. Special,
Mr. President,
Ms. Ryan,
move that we approve the minutes of the special workshop council meeting of December 16th.
Second.
move by Ms. Ryan, second by Mr. Doherty, we approve the minutes of the special meeting of 12/16, 2013. Discussion, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. December 26th special,
Mr. President,
Ms. Ryan,
move that we approve the minutes of the December 26th special council meeting.
Second.
moved by Ms. Ryan, second by Mr. Doherty, to approve the minutes of the special meeting of 12/26/2013. Discussion, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no, the motion carried. That completes it. Communications.
Mr. President, we have the items listed in the order of business for tonight, with the addition of a letter from Mr. David Peterbaugh expressing interest in being considered for appointment to the Water and Sewer Advisory Board, a letter from Mr. David Dreger indicating an interest in continuing on the Water and Sewer Advisory Board with appointment, and a letter from Mr. Derek Loy, also currently serving on the Water and Sewer Advisory Board, asking for reappointment. I have those 3 letters of interest for appointments. I have a letter from Ms. Arnold as the acting law director outlining the pending litigation for the city as required by statute, which I assume she will address in her report. And I have the annual report on the legislative body by the mayor, which he will address during his report. With those additions, that's all I have.
I see Burns letter in here. Yeah.
That is in the.
It's already in the
It's
list,
already in
right?
there, yes.
Okay. Okay, I have a motion regarding communications.
Mr. President,
Ms. Ryan,
move that we accept and file the communications listed on the order of business in addition to those outlined by the clerk.
Second.
moved by Ms. Ryan, second by Mr. Doherty, receive and file communications listed in the order of business plus the additions identified by the clerk. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion's carried. Refresh my memory, Mayor, we have the Mr. Pudabaugh, Mr. Lloyd, and Mr. Drager. Those appointments to be specifically made by city council. Refresh my memory.
Yeah, council has 2 appointments to that body.
So 2 of those 3 need to be acted
2 of
upon.
the 3 need to be acted upon.
And then how about Mr. Burns? That's a new one to me, so.
We have one person that it needs to be appointed by council alone. I have an appointment to the Technology Accelerator Board, board as well, but council has one separately.
Okay. What do you want to do, folks?
Mr. President,
Ms. Japanese?
I move that we appoint Mr. Pudabaugh and Mr. Dreger to the Water Sewer Advisory Board.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Klein?
Mr. President, I'd like to recommend that we keep the present Sewer and Water Advisory Board, the same group that we had last year.
I'm sorry, repeat that, please?
I'd like to recommend that we keep the same members of the Water and Sewer Advisory Board that we had last year, which includes Mr. Loy and Mr. Ritter.
Okay, all right. So we have 3 nominations.
I think last time we did balance.
We did balance last time, that's correct.
Don't we have to act on the motion?
We have to act on the first. How are we doing this?
Well, we have 2 motions before us.
No, we don't. He had discussion after the motion.
Okay, all right. In case we have to, in case you have to ballot. Can you turn one off and pass them around, please? I'm not sure, Mr. Doherty, that I believe there should be an opportunity for other people to make nominations.
Was there no other, that wasn't a nomination, that was under discussions of the motion. Right?
Okay. I'm not gonna argue with you. I don't agree with you, but I'm not gonna argue. It's been moved and seconded that Mr. Pudabaugh and Mr. Drager be appointed to the Water Sewer Advisory Board. And I'm sorry, I'm not gonna accept that. I'm gonna accept Mr. Klein's nomination as well. It's a nomination just like yours or the other one was. So you people you've got ballots in front of you, you write down the name of the individual that you want to be appointed.
Mr. President,
Ms. Ryan?
should we include a third combination with the 3 you know, voting for Mr. Peterball and Mr. Loy so that you have there are three different combinations? Or should we just vote the two people who
Just
you?
vote for the people you want to
want.
vote for, like we do in any other election.
Okay.
The person who gets the most, people get the most votes are selected. Mr. Roman?
Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit confused. Previous to this, that's not how we did it. We had a motion. And
I
now-
don't accept that as a
But wait-
motion,
But wait a
accept
second.
that as a nomination.
But that's not what she said.
I
Because I
understand.
seconded the motion,
All right.
okay? And if I seconded a motion, I don't know how you're taking away our motion,
Well, I got a comment too, sir.
I guess.
All right,
Well,
I'm making a parliamentary decision. Go ahead.
If we have two motions, then we have a motion for Peterborough and Drager and Loy and Drager. We only have two sets to choose from. We don't have three sets to choose from. So if that was a motion, then that one excluded Peterborough and this one excluded Loy.
All due respect, she makes it as a motion. I'm accepting it as a nomination. You're nominating all three.
Historically, what you did 2 years ago, or when the appointment was made, council's appointment, was you did a ballot. And that's the way it was done when we had multiple, which would have been 4 years ago, you had multiple candidates to fill the spot. We did nominations and we passed out a ballot and did a ballot. That's the way it was done 4 years ago.
Basically,
2 years ago, you only had two
Yeah,
candidates.
you're making a nomination, and that's what you've done in the past, and that's what I'm accepting that says now. Okay? You can dispute it. I think it takes a two-thirds majority of city council to overturn my ruling.
Can I have a question? Mr.
Ms.
President?
Cherry.
There's three individuals we're talking about. Do we back the nominations and put everybody out there for making a motion to just nominate either of the three?
I'm saying
Because
that I
there's two
accepted,
motions. He has one, she has one out there, and hers is already.
Well, if they're nominations, the nominations are on the floor.
Mr. President,
Ms.
I would like to withdraw my motion and make a nomination that Mr. Peterborough and Mr. Dreger be on the Water Sewer Advisory Board.
okay. And now, Mr. Klein,
I'm confused.
you want to make a nomination including Mr. Lloyd,
Yes.
okay?
My only interest is that on the Water and Sewer Advisory Board, not be political, but that I have members that show up monthly, because we have some very good discussions going on right now. And over the next 2 years, there's going to be several things that's going to be happening in the water and sewer departments that we're going to get into extensive cost. And I don't want this to be a political issue. I want it to be a group of people that are interested in progress in the city of Alliance.
Okay. Ms. Giacomin,
If this is not a political issue and this is about attendance, do we have any evidence that Mr. Loy had better attendance than anyone?
well, Mr. Peterball is brand new. He's never been to one.
Yes, but
So he
in
didn't
my experience on that board, Mr. Loy was not present very often.
Okay. Well, my point is, you've done appropriately in my estimation. You made a nomination. Mr. Klein is making a nomination of a third party, just as we've done it in the past, okay? When we had more than two, and therefore, you have a ballot before you. You vote for, you put the names on that ballot that you want to serve on the board. And we will collect them, and the auditor will count them. Okay? Mr. Knowles, will you be kind enough to collect them? And do the counting for us?
Or they,
Because we know you know how to count numbers.
I think last time Karen and I both did, right?
Yes, which we could,
One more.
And this pen is working really well.
Yeah, is that everybody?
I think somebody needs to verify your numbers.
Oh, Jerry and I.
oh, look at me, I'm not getting a fight this quick.
You want to call in the state auditor?
You come anyway.
Right.
Let me see, what else we got? Notes of the meeting?
Right, we should have 14 votes, right?
Just tell me who you want.
Sure.
Peterbaugh and Dreger.
Okay, Mr. Peterbaugh, Mr. Gregory have been elected to serve on the Water Sewer Advisory Board. I would assume, do we need to send a letter, Mayor, or do we?
Our office sends letters.
Okay, all right, thank you very much, we appreciate that. Okay, we got that out of the way. We're ready for administrative reports, I believe. Mayor Adriani.
Sure, thank you. Before I go way up here, first of all, thank you for including in the prayer, Mr. President.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. We also have the Technology Accelerator Board, which council has an appointment. And one person who did communicate with me was a gentleman named Chris Burns. Mr. Burns is a cloud. And you want me to explain more?
He works for Dell.
He works for Dell. So he is requested to be on the Technology Accelerator Board.
Is that what you want?
Well, this is not, I have my own appointment, this is council. He contacted us and I sent a copy to Mr. Benacasa and
I believe it was circulated to all members, as I understood it.
Right.
Yeah, it went out via email.
Okay, you all had received it.
And email and all,
Is that one imperative also, Mr. Mayor?
we could do it, since we're meeting in a week, we could wait and do it next week.
Okay, all right. You all have a copy of it, you have his resume, I believe. Please proceed, I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. First of all, we did add a resolution tonight through my office. There's a resolution in 314. It was requested by the Stark Development Board regarding Route 30. What has happened is the state government has proposed a new plan called Access Plan 2040, which, thanks Mr. President, which changes some things in the area. And one of the things we were been asked to do is support the whole county as a region and trying to get Route 30 4 lanes from Canton to Pittsburgh. So that request came, that's what the resolution is about. There was also some other changes that don't affect us as much, but one of the changes that would affect Alliance is where 62 meets 77 south of there would not be considered a national highway or some such designation, which does impede funding for that. So they have asked us, if council will be so kind as to pass that resolution and have a copy sent to the governor and to the director of ODOT. We're on a severe timeline on that, so I would appreciate that. Secondly, with me tonight, I have my annual report. I tend to do this a little differently than a lot of people. I kind of put it in an outline form and let you see this. I'll pass it around. If you have questions, you can take the time to read it, and I won't be talking about it. Of course, the most significant thing that's facing the City of Lyons last year and this year is the finance of the city, and that will be continuing. I have, I think, 4 copies there. Third thing, there's also in your communications requests for boards and approval commissions. The ones you find in the handout that was sent to you via the email was that these are mayoral appointments that are also required to have council approve as well. So I would appreciate those so some of the commissions can begin their work. We had one meet tonight where they had a quorum, but 2 of the members couldn't sit and vote because they hadn't been appointed yet. So these meetings are starting to gear up for the new year, and I appreciate you appointing those listed on that piece of paper. Next thing, the Finance Committee, now that it's been formed, I would request a meeting as soon as practicable. We have a number of things we need to discuss, some in a rather expedient manner. First of all, the auditor who's going to talk about the projections is nearing completion of last year's numbers, and we need to inform the Finance Committee of that. If the council wishes to initiate a tax initiative on the May ballot, the deadline for that is February 4th, and there must be 2 ordinances passed by council prior to then, so we're kind of on a 3-week time frame for that. And the other thing, we have already started the budget review. The auditor has requested budgets from the department heads, and that's in process, and we'd like to start the budgeting process. So as soon as we can work out a time, I would like to have a meeting with the finance committee. And lastly, in your communications as well, I was at an event at the police station about 3 weeks ago, and what I noticed was something that I used to do a lot in other venues, but they had kind of the Officer of the Year thing, and I thought, well, you know, the council needs to know about these things. So in that package, you'll find the letters of commendation from both Chief Griffith and Captain Hillis of officers who had some really notable events in their life and did a great service to the city of Alliance, and I wanted you aware of those. So as those come through from the department heads, I'll try and share those with you via the communications. And thank you, Chief and Captain, for forwarding those to me. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Questions of the mayor? I make a comment, Mayor.
Yes.
I've appeared before the Stark Board, or whatever they call it. I've been in Columbus and with a whole group of people on Route 30. It fascinates me. We built that Route 30 all the way to the western border through, and if you've ever driven it, once you get beyond Canton or Massillon, there ain't nothing except a lot of farmland, and we can't get that thing developed from Canton to the West Virginia, Pennsylvania border, where we have far more population and far more opportunity for economic development and growth. The state of Ohio completely befuddles me when it comes to what they do as far as highway plans are concerned. One of the things I said to them when I did appear before the board is, why don't you finish what you started? And they built half a highway, and then they built 45, they built 250, they built all these half highways, and they never finish anything. And it's just frustrating to me to see the lack of comprehensive long-term planning on this part of the state. I'm not talking about Republicans, I'm talking about way back through history. So forgive me for venting a little bit. Thank you very much. Safety Service Director, Mr. Groves.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. First, there are 4 of my department heads are not here tonight. They requested to be excused. 3 had family issues that had to be taken care of, and the 4th had another commitment long-standing. So I approved those excuses in this meeting tonight.
Thank you.
I'll start off with the water quality. And the water quality still remains pretty good, even though we supposedly are in the period where the MIB problem starts to rise. However, the MIB statistics are still very low. It's an anomaly that Dr. Reynolds really can't explain either. Geosmin that's been pretty prevalent out at Walborn has now been spilling over the dam and coming towards Deer Creek, but it's been within levels that we can treat. So overall, the water still tastes pretty good as far as taste and odor. Speaking of the water department, the CDC, or the Center for Disease Control, has certified our water fluoridation quality program for another year. So I thought I'd let council know about that. That's pretty significant in light of basically the political issue of the water fluoridation anyway throughout the United States. But we do fluoridate our water, and the CDC has commendated us on that. The mayor talked about attending the police department's year-end awards program. Unfortunately, I sent the mayor because I went to Salem. That was the football afternoon, so I apologize to the chief, but I do want to catch the chief tonight on another issue. And that is, it's been on the press today, it's been on the internet, it's been on all 3 channels as far as the 6 o'clock news, and it'll most likely be on all 3 of those channels at 11 o'clock, plus tonight at 8 o'clock on CNN, Nancy Grace. She's going to interview Detective Schatzer, who was involved in basically identifying and setting up and tracking down it really bothers me, these kind of cases, but gentleman from Cuyahoga Falls who used the internet, the Ohio Internet Child Abuse Network, and advertised, quite frankly, for a 10-year-old female child to be basically a quote marriage or a sex bride. And Detective Shaster and the police department really set up a great sting and caught this guy. And it caught the attention, quite frankly, of Northeastern Ohio and apparently Nancy Grace. So if you want to stay up at 11 o'clock tonight, you can watch that. You can watch the interview at 8 o'clock with Nancy Grace if we're no longer here. But I do want to commend again the police department for their vigilance and really catching these types of people. We do have a great detective in Detective Shaster. Did I cover it, Chief?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Tonight, I only have 2 ordinances on here. Both ordinances are replats, and they will be referred to the Planning Commission for their recommendation either way. One of them is Ordinance 114, and that's a replat request by 2 families on one's properties on South Rock Hill, the other properties on Parkway. The other one is Ordinance 214, and that's a replat being requested, and that'll again be sent to the Planning Commission. That's a replat of property that involves, quite frankly, the old gas station at Mount Union by Cockrell's. And at that point, we'll refer those. That's all, Mr. President, unless there are some questions.
Question to the director? Hearing none, thank you very much, Mr. Gross.
And Happy New Year to you all. It's the first opportunity I've had to
Yes.
get it.
I believe, Ms. Arnold, is that correct? Ms. Arnold?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
I think I know most of you already. My name is Jennifer Arnold. I'm currently the acting law director for your city. I'm going to have a long report tonight, and I apologize for that. Most of these things that I am going to talk about are things that I am required either by statute, as Mr. Clerk pointed out, or just housekeeping things that have to come before you. The first is the pending litigation letter. I handed the original to the clerk, and I have copies for all of you to pass around if you'd like to read them. If you don't mind, I will talk about it as you're passing them. It's rather short. There's only 2 things listed on there, and frankly, probably in the future, number 2 wouldn't be listed. The first is a potential lawsuit. The lawsuit has not been filed. I contacted Mr. Clymer, who is representing the city on this matter. He is our insurance counsel, frankly, and it regards a vehicle accident with a police cruiser. My indication from him, and based on my experience, he has the matter well in hand. So I'm going to let him handle that, as he is experienced, his firm is experienced, I know them, and I have all faith that that will be resolved favorably. The second one is an issue, and Marcus isn't here tonight, Mr. Benson brought to me in mid-December. The water, I forget how they couched it, but it involves Columbia Gas with the water and sewer, and Ms. Cherry is nodding. This has been a situation in the past that we've been able to work out amicably. All of a sudden, they decided they wanted to sue us. So this letter was prepared for last Monday. Since then, I filed an answering account claim, and it's a nominal thing. I mean, they sued us for $1,000. I think we counterclaimed for less than $500. The reason I'm mentioning it to you is I don't want to be in the business of getting into lawsuits for $300. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think that's a good use of anyone's time. I want to get this into a position where we have an agreement rather than just a tacit agreement with Columbia Gas. They knock our lines all the time. Marcus would tell you that if they were here. But we just fix it, we don't worry about it. The same used to be with them. If we knocked their line, accidents happen. Things are underground, you can't see them. And they would fix it and it wouldn't be a big deal. But I think that Mr. Zomar, His Honor, sorry, gave me his file. I know, it's so hard on me to call him. Anyway, he gave me a file, not regard to this incident, but 5, 10 years ago, he still had the records of where things had gone in the past. And I hope to put this at least to a resolution so that we don't have to worry about getting sued for $1,000 every 6 months or every year or how often that happens. So. Okay, he's telling me that the gas was shut off on the north end of town for a day.
Right, we inadvertently went down and shut off two valves side by side, both had the same box type. In trying to stop a water leak, the water distribution employee thought he was turning off the water line. In fact, he turned off the gas line. And it got water into their gas line system, and they've been pretty consistent about this issue for some reason.
Yeah, I read the letters from the previous circumstances, and this really doesn't differ any. I don't know why. I don't know if they've got an law firm involved who feels like they need to make a stand on one of these things, and they thought we would just ignore it since it was, I mean, it's not nominal value, but it's certainly not hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is where the city usually gets, those sorts of things. So unless anyone has questions about the pending litigation, I'll move on to my next matter.
Please proceed.
Okay, thank you. With Mr. Zumbar, we have an office of 6, if any of you are familiar. We are now an office of, well, we lost 3 people. Mr. Zumbar took Ms. Jones, our office coordinator, with him upstairs. And so with moving Mr. Morris to civil, I had to hire a new criminal person. Mr. Pentecost is laughing at me.
Musical chairs.
It has been a stressful 13 days. And it's not like the police department hasn't been busy for me either. Mr. Roth, Michael J. Roth, he has been the Minerva prosecutor for the past, he wrote this down for me. They gave me resumes if anybody wants to review them. He has been the Minerva prosecutor since November 2011. I thought he would be a good choice to walk in on his first day and be able to work for me. And that's exactly what he did. Our first criminal day, Friday, January 3rd, he was in the courtroom. I was hanging around, but he had it. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what I needed, because being all by myself would have just been a disaster because, like I said, it's not like anything else was happening in the city. So we are going to stick, with your approval, for the time being with those 2 prosecutors and 1 office staff until the Central Committee makes its decision on hiring a permanent law director. I have, just for your information, I have put in my letter of interest. I think it would be very difficult for someone to walk in without any preparation for this position. So I have asked to continue. As Attorney Zumbar told you previously, we had a Supreme Court filing that was due Friday. So I drove to Columbus Friday, so we are covered. I guess my point to you, ladies and gentlemen, is we are covered. I have that filed. I am keeping, hopefully, everything above water for the time being. And Chief and I had a meeting today with the Stark County Prosecutor's Office. I'm even trying to move us forward. We're going to consider doing direct indictments to cut down on some of the import things that we have here. So the main thing I need from you, ladies and gentlemen, is a voice vote for my 2 prosecutors, please. And if you don't have any questions, I may be done.
Mr. President, do we need a motion for that?
Yes, we do, but I have a point of information first.
Yes, sir.
I'm assuming that in the event someone else is appointed to the position, then we would have to go through this reappointment process conceivably again, or would these appointments carry on no matter what?
Well, I think that depending on who gets the appointment, they could choose.
We could make changes.
They could choose to make changes the day. I mean, they could lose Christine as well. I mean, they could make an entire change of the office.
Okay.
I think that would be ill-advised,
I agree.
but that's.
Continuity is an important factor. Mr. Doherty.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the employment of Mr. Roth in the criminal side and Mr. Morse on the civil side of the Alliance Law Director's Office.
Second.
Got it?
Yes.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried unanimously. Okay. By the way, Mr. Morris is a great Mount Union football fan.
Well, I did not take that into consideration, sir, but I do understand that to be true.
Yeah, he sits in front of me.
Oh, is that it? If I could, just one
He
more.
listens to me yell all the time.
Well, I don't see him yelling. I want to thank Chief Griffith and the police department. Saturday, as I heard several of you talking earlier, was probably my first big thing as law director, and they included me throughout the process. And I appreciated the inclusion and the ability to know what was going on and be helpful. Frankly, I thought I was just there to support, but they made me feel welcome. And they don't have to yet because I'm not really here, so, okay, thank you.
You're all right now, you're taking care of it.
Well, I'm trying, Your Honor.
Any questions of the law director, acting law director? No? Thank you very much. We're ready, now ready for Mr. Noel, the auditor.
Hey, Mr. President, members of council, I just have a few items to update you on. The one report that is in your packet this week is the municipal income tax recap for 2013. Again, this is like every month, it's a comparison of how we're doing. And so this is for the year end of 2013. As you can see, we had a very, let's say, successful year. We brought in roughly the same amount as 2012, $8,000 more than last year, a total of $10.283 million. So I'd like to commend the office of the income tax department for their efforts last year. As far as the other numbers of the city, we just rolled the prior 2013 year about midweek last week, so I don't have those numbers ready to distribute to council. At the next council meeting, I plan on giving a report as to the city's finances through the year end. Lastly, you guys received an email, I think, this week from the state auditors. They've commenced the 2014 state audit, basically of last year's books. Normally, they're here for about 5 or 6 months. It depends on how quickly we can go through that process has been done. We're not having a pre-audit meeting as they disclosed to you. We'll have a post-audit meeting, usually those hit around June or July, so we expect good things out of the audit, so we'll see. Keep our string going. That's all I have.
One information, you previously indicated that, and I think the mayor also indicated as well, that you already started meeting with the state auditors regarding our financial condition. Is that
No,
correct or not?
we haven't yet. Those ones that are specialized in that capacity, we discussed with them last year about meeting this year. We haven't set up a time yet. They want their final numbers, which we just have,
yeah.
right? Plus they want this year's budget, which hasn't been completed yet. So I'll have a shell of a budget to them pretty soon, so that they probably will want to come in sometime in January.
So you're suggesting they will look at our prospective budget as well as our past year's performance?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Everybody understand that?
I just have a question, Mr. President.
Ms. Jerry?
Will they not come to, after your temporary is in, or they want one after your final year end?
I don't necessarily gonna give them the permanent one because historically this won't get passed until March. So, and I don't know how long this is gonna take or how long council's gonna want to review and do things to it. So I'll give them what we consider to be the proposed budget, and they'll know that it could be changed and there could be changes in the meantime, but I'll give them a basic idea of what we think we're gonna spend this year. So
No, it's just the year end plus the proposal.
right, that's
So
what
they'll
we'll
be
do.
making that tax payment decision.
Correct.
Thank you.
Other questions of the law director? No, thank you, the auditor. Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Knoll. Standing committee reports, properties and lands, Ms. Cherry.
No formal report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Cherry. Speaking judiciary, Mr. Doria.
Yes, sir, I have no formal report. However, I do want to chime in on what the acting law director and the safety service director spoke about, which is the internet crimes against children activity of the Alliance Police Department. And I think the one thing that maybe wasn't mentioned here is this is a guy sitting at his computer in Cattle Falls, Ohio. And, you know, he's not targeting Alliance, Ohio to look for a child. He's broadcasting that out to the world. But it's Alliance, sorry about that. But it's Alliance, Ohio that sees it and deals with it, which the word that we use in our vernacular for this is proactiveness. It's amazing that you know, this guy was stupid enough to do this, but it's not surprising that it was the Alliance Police Department that was the law enforcement agency amongst all the others that stepped up to the plate and took him down. So congratulations, good job.
Thank you.
And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Doria. Planning, zoning, housing, Ms. Giacometti.
I do not have a formal report, but as far as ordinance 8113 is concerned, I worked with the acting law director, Ms. Arnold, to make the appropriate changes where there was some Sebring language. I don't believe that the updated ordinance was in the packet, so I have the language that will need to be substituted, and I am looking for a approval of that ordinance tonight. I did speak with some of the people in Youngstown who are coordinating their efforts. honestly, could not mention a single hiccup or problem that they've had. They've had a very positive year. As you saw in the Canton repository, Canton has done similar things and generated over $1 million with this program to take care of these houses. If anybody has any specific questions, I'm pretty sure I have all of the information anybody could possibly want at this point. But since I haven't really heard anything, I am looking for adoption tonight.
Is this 8113 you're speaking of?
Yes, 8113.
I thought there was a work session supposed to be held on that matter.
I'm sorry?
There was a work session scheduled in that matter which was not held because of the weather.
That is correct. It was canceled and I didn't anticipate needing a full hour, honestly. If anybody has questions, I have the answers, but I think that would be overuse of time to spend an hour when there's probably very few questions.
Mr. Doria?
I'm just curious, since we had put this thing in the arena of public hearing, is there,
It wasn't a public hearing, it was a workshop.
oh, okay, work session. Is there any requirement that we do that since that day came around with no fault of our own?
Well, you people voted to have it, so you can vote not to have it.
I just have one question, Mr. President. Because I've gotten so many calls, I just thought it would be a nice gesture to the public, because there is people, which primarily is in the first and second ward, that this will affect as just abandoned blank area homes. They wanted to come and ask questions of the ordinance before it actually goes on the floor and pass.
I would be happy to answer any questions. I got one phone call though.
What I'm saying to you, instead of inundating you, the actual properties and lands as well as streets and alleys, just talk to these people before you ask the ordinance. You said it would be for the betterment of the city. These people have questions.
My phone number and email address are all over the internet.
I
Anybody's welcome to
understand that,
contact
and a
me.
lot of people in the first and second ward that are low income don't have emails or computers to actually come to you, and some of them probably don't even have a phone.
Somebody make a motion
to. Just a nice gesture to the
either
public,
cancel the,
to let them know.
Okay,
And
Mr.
explain.
or
President,
else make a new work session.
I would like to reschedule a workshop before next week's regular council meeting at 6:15 p.m.
And when you say work session, would that be open to the public?
Yes,
Thank you.
That would be Tuesday due to the holiday.
okay, it's Tuesday.
What's the
Do you
date?
want, I have the corrected language. Do
Yes,
you want
please,
that?
please.
Here, copy for you.
What's the date?
21st. Tuesday.
21st,
Be Tuesday,
January
21st.
21st, it's a Tuesday at 6:15.
Yes, sir.
Any further discussion on the matter? All those in favor of establishing a new work session signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no.
Here. In council chambers, sorry. You can
Council
add that.
chambers, here. Okay, that's 6-0, Mr. Klein?
I'd like to make sure that this is noted in the Alliance Review, that our work session will be open to the public, because I've had some people from the Property Management Association contact me, asking me several questions about who will be affected and what the cost will be. And I think it's important that this be expressed in the Alliance paper, that this meeting is open to the public so that they can come here and express their points and views also. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I really think we're ready to move on. Utilities, Mr. Klein? I'm sorry, Ms. Jackson, just complete your report.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Klein, utilities?
Mr. President, I have no formal report, but I would like to mention, and I would like to publicly thank Mr. Hall and the Canton Repository and whoever was involved in last Friday's front page story about the Lions Water Department. And I think it's nice to see something positive on the front page of the newspaper. Thank you.
You said it was from Mr. Hall, Malcolm Hall?
Yes. They did a very nice story on our new ultraviolet system in our water department.
That's very nice to hear, Mr. Hall, a very positive story about it.
John, be nice.
I'm not quite there, but I'm going for a long time. Anything further, Mr. Klein?
That's all, Mr. President.
All right, community development, nothing on that from Ms. Phillips. Streets and alleys, Mr. Roan.
I have no report, but I also like to thank our police department for the great job that they always do, plus what was done recently here, and I'd like to thank our detectives. Thank you.
There's a comment, Mr. Ryan, Mr. Rome, if you hear comments about our streets, I was in Canton today. I hit some potholes that I couldn't believe. We aren't the only ones that are suffering. It's that time of year. It's gonna get worse.
I ran over a few myself in my travels.
Thank you, Mr. Rome. Finance, Ms. Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. President. No formal report, although I'm sure that's not going to be the case in the future. As the mayor mentioned, we would like to schedule a finance committee meeting. So if the members of the committee could meet shortly, or short time after the meeting, and we'll schedule something that would be agreeable to the committee and to Mr. Knowles and the mayor and Mr. Price as well.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ryan. Mr. Mayor, do we need to get some tentative legislation prepared in advance for Tennessee City Council to look at to see which way they want to go?
We have the templates, of course, for just about anything, and it would be a matter of supplying the numbers in the form of any tax initiative council would decide upon. The one that probably is the most problematic is property tax. The first ordinance has to be a request to the Stark County Auditor to certify the amount. And I don't think that takes very long anymore because it's all done by computer. But that one would need to go, and then there's a second one that has to go, actually putting it on the ballot.
Okay, question number 2. Do we need to schedule a work session with City Council to discuss these issues? Because we're going to run out of time.
Yeah, we have 3 weeks, and I was talking about the council, finance committee first, to have them overview this situation and make a recommendation to the council of the whole. Mr. President, I'll do whatever council wishes on that, either a committee of the whole or finance committee by itself. We are about 3 weeks out right now.
Another comment I would make is that when the finance committee establishes their meeting, I would urge all members of the council who can possibly attend to be there so that you can continue to keep yourself informed and be aware of the issues that are going to be brought before you. Okay, I think we're ready to public speech.
None, Mr.
No?
President. We do, however, have a special presentation by Mr. Moore from the Police Department.
Special report.
Yes.
Mr. Moore, you say?
Yes.
Do we have a microphone up there anymore?
I think I can talk loud enough for probably everybody can hear me. I actually have 2 presentations that I would like to do for the city. One is actually for the police department. For those of you that are not aware or weren't aware, not long ago I returned from another military deployment. I appreciate the city for supporting me in my military service, as well as the chief and the police department, because I realize it taxes the city and it taxes the police department when I have to leave. So, Chief Griffin, would you come up here for a second? I've given the police department different gifts from different deployments. Coming up with a new idea that's sort of different for the chief. The military is very big in military challenge coins. So I have a couple challenge coins that I'm going to present to the chief. One of them, and you guys can task him to see them later, is actually our unit coin that we were deployed with. It's from the A67 Engineering Installation Cell out of an undisclosed Southwest Asia location to where we were actually assigned to the Combined Air Operations Center. And I'd like to present that to him because it's actually the unit that I actually served with and that we did all of our work with. So we'll give you that. Thank you. And just so that you're aware that if you drop one of these coins, it means you're buying. The other one is also from the location that I was at. I'm actually a chief in the military, Chief Master Sergeant in the Air Force. So to give a little reverence to the chief, I am presenting him with a Desert Chiefs Award, which is for performance and support of the military and everything else. And it's out of the undisclosed location, Southwest Asia. Location, from our chiefs to my chief.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's mean a lot to me, and it means a lot to be a part of the Alliance Police Department, because we are very progressive. So I sort of win-win in both spots. So, thanks, Chief. Next one. The next one actually is a makeup for the city. I generally bring back some sort of a gift or token to the police department to show my appreciation for them taking up for the slack for me being gone and taking up all of my workload that I would have had to do, shifted it somewhere else. Part of one of our traditions is we did, and I'd actually like the mayor, Mr. Ingrani, and the council president, Mr. Benecas, to come forward. One of the other things that we do for our military deployments that I've had the opportunity to do, I've done this for the police department as well as some of the different departments in the police department. I'm going to present an American flag to the city that was flown on 2 special occasions on a B-1B bomber combat operations across Afghanistan. First time it was flown was July 4th, for obviously in celebration of our independence as a country and for the city. And also because of the tragedies that we had in New York, I also had flown on 9/11 in honor of the city for supporting me in my military service. So these are 2 certificates that have been signed by the flight crew that had actually flown the bomber in their combat mission over Afghanistan. So I'd like to give those to the city as well, so that they can share in my appreciations for the support of city council, as well as the city for our military service, as well as the military service of all the other city employees. So, thank you very much.
Thank you for your There we go.
Okay. Mr. President, I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Gray.
Is this stuff gonna be on display in the Alliance Police Department?
The flag is up to the cities where they want to display it. The gifts actually were to the chief, so it's gonna be his choice as to where he wants to display them.
This one, yes, this one.
We have a couple different options, and perhaps we have the one in the lobby, in case we have it in the lobby. I was kind of thinking my office, but maybe that's not the fairest thing. And what I think maybe we will do is maybe we'll rotate it between the police department and the city administration.
Just so everybody else knows, there are some other items that are on display at the police department from previous gifts. And Lieutenant Moore has been very supportive of his department while he's been employed too, because he's brought us a lot of things each time. I actually got to take a trip down to San Antonio one year for the employees in support of the Guard Reserve. It was put on by Lieutenant Moore there too. So we lose an officer, we give up a lot, but we also get a lot back, not just in tokens and gifts, but in character as well.
I think we're ready for new business.
That's correct. We have no thirds and no seconds. Takes us to 1.
Introduced with Ms. Jaganese.
That's correct. Ordinance 1-14, introduced by Councilwoman Giacomides, is an ordinance accepting and approving the replat of Lot 7907 and part of Lot 8158 located at 1232 Parkway Boulevard, and parts of Outlot 312 located at 1261 South Rock Hill Avenue in the city of Alliance, County of Stark, and state of Ohio.
Mr. Benning,
Ms. Jaganese.
I I move that we refer ordinance 1-14 to the planning commission.
Second.
Been moved by Ms. Giacometti, second by Ms. Ryan, that we refer ordinance 1-14 to Plan Commission. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. Number 2,
Ordinance number 214, introduced by Councilwoman Giacometti, is an ordinance accepting and approving the replat of lots 29, 30, and 10737 located at 105 West State Street in the city of Alliance, County of Stark, and state of Ohio.
Ms. Giacometti,
I move that we refer ordinance 2-14 to the planning commission.
Second.
moved by Ms. Giacometti, second by Ms. Ryan, refer ordinance 2-14 to the Planning Commission. Discussion? Excuse me. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, no. The motion carries referred. Resolution 3-14.
Resolution 3-14 is a resolution declaring support for the Route 30 extension.
Mr. President,
Ms. Giacometti,
do we adopt this, or how exactly do we proceed?
it's
on this?
handled just the way any other ordinances, other than the fact that we don't have an emergency clause on it because there's no money being spent.
I move that we adopt resolution 3-14.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Giacometti, second by Ms. Ryan, that we adopt ordinance, resolution 3-14. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting this resolution 3-14, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. It's adopted.
Mr. President,
Mr. Duarte,
I move that we accept the commission board appointments and reappointments as proposed by Mary Andriani in the document that was provided to council.
Second.
been moved and seconded that the Atlanta City Council adopted the appointments prepared and presented to the Atlanta City Council to the various commissions by the mayor. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting the mayor's recommendation signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion is carried, they're adopted. I think what we indicated, we maybe hold off on Mr. Burns till the next week, so you have an opportunity. You all have the letter, and I think his resume was attached, was it not? If not, I can attach your resume.
It was an email I received, so I assumed it would have.
Anything further to come before this body?
We do have two proclamations.
Oh, I'm sorry. Proceed.
Did the third one ever make it to me?
Well, I don't know, I have three in the,
I was told
Order of
Judge
business.
Zumbar was handling the third one, but he never sent it to me.
I will remind him.
Okay,
Okay.
so,
What is the third one that I need to remind him about?
well, we can read the title.
Okay.
okay, well, I
Thank
don't
you, I'll
need
take care of
it.
it.
Okay, all right.
First proclamation is introduced by council as a whole in the administration. It's a proclamation honoring Roy Klunk for his dedication and commitment and service to the City of Alliance. Whereas Roy Klunk has served the City of Alliance and its citizens with sincere dedication during his 6-year tenure as a member of the Alliance City Council, and where Roy Klunk has served as Chairman of the Finance Committee of the City Council during the last 2 years, Chairman of the Streets and Alleys Committee for 2 years, and the Property and Lands Committee for 2 years. And whereas City Council members and the administration are grateful for his hard work and fairness and leadership, now therefore be it proclaimed by the City of Alliance, Stark, and Mahoning counties as follows. Section 1, that this City Council and the administration, for its members and for all the citizens of Alliance, do hereby express to Roy Klunk sincere thanks and appreciation for his years of service as a member of Alliance City Council. This council values Section 2, this council values the appreciation and appreciates the service of Roy Klunk for his many years and contributions to the City Council and to the Alliance community. Section 3, this council expresses to Roy Klunk our best wishes for continued success and happiness. Section 4, that the clerk of City Council is directed to deliver a signed and sealed copy of this proclamation to Roy Klunk. Section 5, it's hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and relating to the adoption of this proclamation were adopted in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and any of its committees which resulted in such formal actions were in open meetings, open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including that of Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. I'm going to pass this around for signature.
Need a motion?
Mr. President,
Jordan?
I move that we adopt the proclamation honoring retired Alliance City Councilman Roy Klein.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Jordan, seconded by Ms. Ryan, and seconded by Mr. Klein, that we adopt the proclamation acknowledging the service of Mr. Klein. Really appreciate it. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying, anybody want to add anything? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion carried. It's adopted.
Next proclamation was introduced by council as a whole and the administration. It's a proclamation honoring Andrew Zumbar for his dedication, commitment, and service to the City of Alliance. Whereas Andrew Zumbar has faithfully served the City of Alliance for the past 20 years as an assistant law director and law director, and whereas during his service to the City of Alliance, Mr. Zumbar has attended more than 500 regular and special council meetings and countless other meetings of committees, boards, and commissions. And whereas during his time, Mr. Zumbar has crafted on average 100 ordinances each year, researched complex legal matters, answered a multitude of questions, defended the city from both civil and criminal complainants, prosecuted criminals, helped the elimination of drugs through a proactive cooperation with law enforcement, was counsel for the administration and city council, and was the source of reliable, well-thought-out information. And whereas the City of Alliance will truly miss the dedicated commitment, knowledge, and expertise that Andrew Zumbar has brought to the Alliance City government as law director. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the City of Alliance, Stark, and Mahoning counties as follows. That Andrew Zumbar is hereby recognized by Alliance City Council and its administration for 20 years of dedicated service and commitment to the City of Alliance. His accomplishments and efforts on behalf of the city have guided the City of Alliance through some of its most difficult challenges and built a foundation for the city to continue to grow in the future. His expertise will truly be missed by all of his colleagues. This council expresses its best wishes for continued success and happiness in his new position as judge of the Alliance Municipal Court. Section 2, that is found and determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and relating to the adoption of this proclamation were adopted in open meetings of this council, and all deliberations of this council and any of its committees that resulted in such formal actions were in meetings open to the public and in compliance with all legal requirements, including those of Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. And again, there's a place for all to sign.
Mr. President,
Ms. Giacometti?
I move that we adopt the proclamation thanking Mr. Zumbar.
Second.
Ms. Giacometti moves, Mr. Jordan second, to adopt the proclamation honoring the long time and dedicated and well-qualified service of Mr. Zumbar in the city. All of us. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion is carried. It's adopted. Can you say there's another further?
No, I did have a third one that was mentioned but has not been yet submitted, so I anticipate it next week.
You shall.
Thank you.
Any further business to come before this body?
Move to adjourn.
We're adjourned.
Yes, sir.